Okay. Well. There it is. Alright, back to work. Jesus Christ, fucking stupid ass Streamlabs crashing over and over and over and over again. Good, good.
Come closer, my new friend. Ah, our potential savior of the Shadowlands has arrived.
Meet the curator at the crypt of the Forgotten. I believe it's faster to jump off from the mirror up there. It's 6 o'clock. In a couple of hours I'm going to go to bed. Oh, I have to pay. 2 hours and 22 minutes. Yeah, let's go reset.
One more time, yeah?
Nice.
Come back when you need sorting.
Things soon. Go pee. Sorry guys for the interruptions over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Streamlabs just keeps crashing. Yeah, no settings are different than they've ever been. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, I recently reformatted. I recently deep cleaned. I don't know what's going on, but I'm so sorry to keep crashing it over and over and over again. I don't know why it does that. It's just black screens. It drives me crazy. I need to spit anyways. Paper's all gone now, it's annoying. Okay, good. Well, the video's still going. That's good.
Confirmed when his clothing was checked and a pocketbook with his name on it was found. Beatty of Chicago, but originally from Canada, was a wealthy landowner who had taken a trip to Europe with two friends, Thomas McCaffrey and John Hugo Ross. 3 days before boarding the Titanic, Beatty wrote to his mother in Ontario to notify her of his return. Shortly after the discovery of Collapsible A, Thompson Beatty's fate made the pages of the Canadian press. In an almost unbelievable twist, it was reported that his body was consigned to the waves on his mother's birthday at almost the exact same spot in the Atlantic where she had been born 82 years before, on a ship bound for Canada.
Remember,
This video is sponsored by Blinkist. Blinkist is a helpful app for anyone who wants to learn through reading, but simply doesn't have the time. Blinkist offers easily digestible 15-minute summaries of some of the best non-fiction books available. These summaries are called blinks. Use these blinks to get inspiration, learn more about books you'd like to read in the future, broaden your knowledge and gain new perspectives. There are more than 3,000 titles on the Blinkist app, covering 27 categories, including history, politics, self-help, marketing and psychology. You can either read them on your device or listen to them while relaxing or doing something a little more productive. I enjoy Blinkist because it helps me decide which books to read next by giving me a good insight before I do. I would highly recommend The Fate of Rome by Cole Harper and The Emerald Planet by David Beerling, which I've recently been listening to in the car while on my work commute. If you're interested in learning about a range of subjects but don't have enough hours in the day, head over to blinkist.com/curiousworld. The first 100 people will get 1 week to try Blinkist for free and 25% off if you decide you want the full membership.
I like your style, Curious World. I'm gonna like you sub to your channel. Thank you for the excellent
1989 saw
content
the
for my stream.
emergence of a little-known Brazilian rock band named Utopia. In those early days, the band, which consisted of 3 members, were no more than a cover band. They played small shows and did release an album in 1992, but it sold less than 100 copies. Overall, Utopia saw little success. That is until 1995. By then, they'd gained 2 more band members and changed their name to Mamonas Assassinas, or Killer Breasts. The rejuvenated band now incorporated comedy, raunchy lyrics, as well as influences from a range of musical genres into their songs and stage performances. In a short space of time, and with only 1 album under their belts, they became extremely popular in Brazil and beyond. Their satirical lyrics, outrageous clothes, and colourful videos appealed to a large young audience, ultimately making them one of the biggest bands to come out of Brazil in the 1990s. In 1995, Mamonas Assassinas consisted of 24-year-old Alexander Alves, 25-year-old Bento Hinoto, 27-year-old Julio Hasek, and brothers Samuel and Sergio Hesta Oliveira, who were 22 and 26 respectively. Alas, their fame and lives were cut short. It was March 2nd, 1996, and they had just played the last gig of their national tour at the Mané Garrincha Stadium in front of a 40,000 strong crowd in the country's capital, Brasilia. The plan was that they would spend the next day at home relaxing before travelling to Portugal for more gig dates and interviews. But the Learjet 25 carrying all 5 band members crashed in the Serra de Cantareira mountain range near Sao Paulo at 11:15 p.m. The plane, which was on its final approach to Guarulhos International Airport, had reportedly experienced radar trouble even before takeoff. The pilot, Alberto Takeda, having aborted the first landing attempt, circled the airport to come in again, which is when the plane went down over the mountain range. All on board died. As well as the band members and the pilot Takeda, there was stage assistant Isaac Suuto, bodyguard Sergio Porto, and co-pilot Jorge Martins. The exact cause of the crash was not determined, but it's a tragic and all too familiar story involving touring artists who have unfortunately had their lives cut short in the same way. The causes of plane crashes in general are of course varied, but the reasons given in these kinds of cases are all too often due to lack of attention to air safety, the experience of the pilot, or the worthiness of the plane, usually caused by strict time restraints while on the road and a dedication to fulfilling gig dates on time. It was reported that the band had played 160 gigs in the last 6 months. Such was their popularity that Brazilian radio stations gave live broadcasts as firemen pulled their bodies from the wreckage. Hours later, on Sunday, March the 3rd, the same media attention was given to a street procession when ambulances brought the bodies to a morgue in downtown Sao Paulo. Fans lined the streets, and at the cordoned-off morgue, it's said that they gathered 10 deep to pay their respects. An all-night vigil was held before the funeral services took place on Monday, March the 4th. During an investigation into the events that preceded the crash, a home video featuring the band's keyboardist Julio Hasek surfaced. The amateur video was taken at a barbershop and shows Hasek shortly after getting his hair dyed. The man behind the camera was barber Nelson de Lima. In the closing seconds of the video, de Lima asked Hasek about the post-tour trip to Portugal. After making a joke about Portuguese women, Hasek can be heard saying that he had a dream the night before that a plane had crashed. Just before the video ends, he looks off to the side and shrugs his shoulders indifferently, but you get a sense of genuine concern. In fact, the people closest to him in the days following the disaster said that he was not himself in the hours leading up to the flight and that he appeared to be on edge.
Essa noite eu sonhei com um negócio assim, parecia que o avião caía, não sei.
Did Julio Hasek have a foreboding premonition, or was it just a dream, maybe brought on by anxiety of the upcoming flight, that in turn happened to end in tragedy? Well, the Fortean Times wrote in 2012 that a medium known as Mother Dina, real name Benedicta Finaza, had predicted in December of 1995 that the band would all perish in an aircraft accident the following year. I personally had trouble believing this, but after checking, I did find an article from a Brazilian newspaper dated December 25th, 1995. It says that Mother Dina had correctly predicted the deaths of Formula One racing driver Ayrton Senna and a Brazilian politician in 1994. It goes on to say that she believed Mamonas Assassinas would be involved in an accident of some kind in 1996. Following the death of the band, their music is still celebrated today, and their lives and the events leading up to the tragedy have been the subject of various documentaries and retrospective news features over the years. Neil Gordon Wilson, a resident of the city of Tulondo in Australia, was an eccentric man by all accounts. The people of Tulondo who knew him said he was a quiet and gentle man, with no close friends that they knew of. In the mid-1970s, Wilson, who was in his mid-20s at the time, suffered brain damage after a motorbike accident. Following the accident, Wilson was placed on medication to control his epilepsy, but according to his family, he would often fail to take it. The people in the neighbourhood grew used to his unusual behaviour, and over the years, some strange accounts have come forward. Local resident Mr. Graham Bedford reported that he had seen Neil Wilson standing in the long grass of the Tulondo swamplands in 1991. He was totally naked, Bedford said, except for a number of Coke cans tied to a piece of hay band around his chest. He said good day to me and then started to get dressed. Also during the early 90s, some duck hunters found a green plastic suit at the edge of Tulondo Reservoir, which they guessed was Neil's, as he was often seen in the reservoir. The fact is, Wilson was obsessed with the notion of taking on the form of a fish, a desire he'd had for some time, for as early as 1974. One tourist reported seeing Wilson in the Tulondo Channel attached to a piece of rope that was tied to a bridge railing. When Wilson was pulled from the channel naked, he explained that he was pretending to be a fish at the end of a fishing line. In November of 1995, at the age of 49, Mr. Wilson stayed at the family holiday home in Tulondo, where he was expected to remain for 3 weeks. But by the 27th of that month, he was reported missing by his father.
Oh no.
Police found medication for diabetes and epilepsy in the house, and, judging by the number of pills, they were able to deduce that he had stopped taking them 10 days earlier. On the afternoon of November 27th, 1995, a police helicopter spotted a green mass in a paddock a short distance from Tulondo Reservoir. On investigation, it was found to be a plastic bodysuit. Inside was the badly decomposed body of Neil Gordon Wilson. The carefully double-stitched outfit was made up of 3 layers: an outer vinyl layer, a layer of carpet, and an inner vinyl layer. It included 4 zips, a headpiece with eye holes, mittens, and a mermaid-type tail made from the inner tube of a tyre. Inside the holiday home, police found a second, similar, intricately made suit, as well as a sewing machine, bits of old rubber.
This
and
guy
vinyl sheet
wanted to be a
cut-offs.
dolphin so bad.
It was believed that Wilson had spent a great deal of time, probably even years, designing various prototypes of his outfit, which